is lobster season here in Quebec, and today we are cooking some live lobster. My name is Marie-France Garon. You are on Healthy Cooking for Food Lovers. So now our water is boiling. We're gonna add some salt to it. I'll put about half a cup of salt because remember our lobster, they live in salted water, so we have to give them some salt. This one is ready to go into the water, so we're gonna cut the bands first. The best way to make it is to put it to sleep before sending it into the water, and there's two ways to do that. You can put them in the freezer for a couple of hours and they'll be all like this. That's what we did with that, so that's why this guy is alive, but he's all sleepy and relaxed. That's the way I can take off the rubber band on the claws and there's no danger. And the other way, if you're ready to cook it when you arrive from the store, you want to put it to sleep, you can just swing it like that. Just like this. Just like a rocking chair. And this guy is going to be totally asleep. Just 2-3 swing like that. That's what you want before you put it into the water. You want it to be asleep and relaxed so the meat is more tender. And he's asleep and he's going straight into the water now. If you like this recipe, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so you can be notified every time there's a new recipe. So how long do you cook your live lobster in the boiling water? The 1 pound will be 8 minutes, the 1.5 pounds is 12 minutes, the 2 pounds, 15 minutes, 2.5 pounds, 20 minutes, and the 3 pounds will be 25 minutes. Coming out! Look at this! Ooh, that's a big one. And there's even a bigger one here. I think this one is nearly 3 pounds. It's enormous. Voila! Look at the big fella! Ooh, can't wait to crack it. Alright, we have one more to cook here. One big guy going in the pot. Head on. Voila! So we're gonna let it cool down for about 20 minutes so we're able to manipulate, put it apart. Woo! You're gonna get cracked. I'm excited. Now, this is quite simple how to pull it apart. I don't use too many tools. I use my big knife and some scissors. I find it's the easiest way to crack all the shell and put it apart. So let's have a look at that. Now, how to put this beast apart? It's quite simple when you know how to do it. So let's start to cut it and put it apart. So first, we're gonna take the tail off. And what you do is you take it out like this and turn. Et voila. So this little green here has to come out. No washing under the tap because you lose some flavor on your meat. So now I use my scissors to cut out the shell on top like this. Now it's easy to open it and expose the tail like that. Now, voila, a beautiful lobster tail. We're gonna cut a little bit of it here just so we don't get that. So all out. And now I'm just gonna cut it in two. And see here, we need to just take all this out as well. So now it's ready to dip in the butter and just enjoy it. But what I'm doing now with those, I'm gonna freeze some because I've got quite a lot of lobster here, and I did it on purpose to be able to enjoy them a little later. So what I'm gonna do is place them on a baking sheet before I put this in the freezer, and so that's gonna be frozen individually, and then when that's done, I'll put them in a freezer bag. I'm using the silicone bag to keep them, so I'll put them in one of those after they're frozen, so they're gonna be all individual, so I'll be able to take some of it when I need it. So let's keep going with the lobster. Now those big claws here, wow, look at this. Big ones. Now there's lots of little legs here as well, and the body of course we don't eat, but the legs, especially when they're big like that, there's a little bit of meat, and if you're like me, I just don't want to lose any of my lobster, so I also keep the legs. This we can discard, the body we don't eat it, but if we can boil it and make some seafood chowder and bisques, so we always keep that. So if you're not ready to make your stock immediately, you can put all those shell in a bag in a freezer, and you can then get it out when you're ready to boil them for soup. Now we have one big leg here, and what we can do is just break it off in the joint, and then the bone will come out, and therefore the rest of the meat will come out easily. It's really delicious, the meat in the leg, so we can just suck on it and then it's gonna come out, or we can cut it with the knife as well. Okay, now we're attacking the claws, so we're gonna just cut it in the joint like that. So we're gonna take this one out. Now this is a big claw, so that's why it's a little bit hard to do. And look at this. Now this is a tough shell because our lobster are quite big, so the shell is thicker, and so with the cracker that might be a bit difficult, so I'll show you how to crack this shell. Now you have it on the board, and I'm using my knife, but not the side where the blades is cutting, the back of the knife, and we're gonna bash this off. And voila, don't just pull it too hard, just take your time, because it's worth it. You're gonna have a nice big, so take your time, don't rush this, just make sure that it all comes out without breaking apart. I feel it's stuck a little bit here, so I'm gonna bash it up a little bit more here. It is cracked. Voila! Woohoo! Look at this. What a beautiful piece of meat. Huge claw. Ooh, it's gonna be delicious. We have another one. So, and then of course there's this joint here as well. This is the hardest part to cut apart and open, but it's also full of nice pieces of meat in there. Okay, so now we're gonna take this apart as well, this part here, and it's coming out quite easily this time. Oh, see, I got the little bone here out, so which means it's gonna be only meat. So we're gonna bash it off with our knife again. Check this out. Voila! Oh, voila! Another claw. There's always, every lobster have one smaller and one bigger. I'll show you here. So you see they're different. This one has really sharp edges, so they use that for cutting, and they use this for holding. This one, it's the bigger one, and it's different. So, and they use that for holding things and maybe cutting it apart and things like that. So that's why it's always one smaller, one bigger. So now we're gonna go into the joint, and again, these have really, really sharp little edges. But then after we manage to separate them, now we have some beautiful meat. Look at this. This is how I serve it to my guests. They have to do all the rest of the work to put it apart, and so I just serve it with a little bit of lemon. And now to crack it, they're gonna be working with their hands, so normally it's quite easy to eat it with your hands as well. It's quite okay, and we just dip it in a little bit of butter. This is a garlic butter, garlic and parsley. That's all there is in here, and then we melt it a little bit, and then we just dip the nice sweet meat in the little butter, and it is so delicious. Now, it's normally the lobster is served cold, so those ones have been out for half an hour, so it's ready to serve. They're just sort of warm, but they're easy to touch and manipulate, so it's perfect. If you haven't tried this, you must. This is just so nice and so delicious and fun to eat with friends as well, because it takes a while to put it apart, and we just have time to have a nice dinner together and relax and have fun. You can grab the nice piece of lobster meat and dip it in the butter straight in. It is so delicious. You must try. Bon appetit!